My CEO asked me to be her date to her ex's wedding on a dead quiet Friday night in the office break room. That one question changed everything. It was almost 8 p.m. at Hartwell Technologies. The open floor lay mostly dark. Most people had left hours earlier. I sat alone at the break room table with my laptop, staring at quarterly reports and nursing cold coffee. As a senior analyst, I told myself this overtime proved I mattered. Mostly, it just proved I was exhausted. I was rubbing my eyes when a voice said, "Excuse me, do you have a minute?" I jumped and spun around. Ms. Brennan stood in the doorway. Claire Brennan, CEO, the woman who ran the entire company. I'd watched her deliver speeches and run ruthless meetings, but we'd never been alone together like this. I straightened so fast my chair squeaked. "Of course, Miss Brennan, what can I do for you?" She stepped inside and closed the door. The soft click sent my stomach plummeting. My mind raced through every report I'd submitted in the past month. Had I missed something? Was I about to be fired in the break room? "This is going to sound completely inappropriate," she said quietly, "and I'm apologizing in advance." "Okay," I managed, even though nothing felt okay. She didn't sit. She stood near the counter, one hand resting on the back of a chair. Her charcoal blazer was impeccable. Her auburn hair was pinned up as always, but her shoulders weren't quite as square. She looked more like someone at the end of a brutal day than an untouchable executive. "My ex-fiancé is getting married in 3 weeks," she said. That was nowhere on the list of things I expected her to say. "I was invited," she continued, eyes on the floor. "I know I should decline. That would be the mature thing. But I can't stop thinking I need to go. For closure or pride or something. I'm not even sure." I nodded slowly, still lost on why I was in this conversation. "The problem is," she said, "if I show up alone, I look pathetic." She spoke the word bluntly, like she was beating everyone else to the punch. "Everyone from our old circle will be there. His family, my former friends, people who knew us when we were engaged. They'll look at me and think, of course she's still single. Of course he found someone better." When she finally met my eyes, I saw something I'd never seen in her before. Fear. Real, unguarded fear. She said, "So I need to ask you something unprofessional, maybe insane." My grip tightened on my coffee mug. "Okay," I said. She took a breath like she was stepping off a cliff. "Will you be my date to my ex's wedding?" Silence landed hard between us. I stared, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. Just her watching me with tired, hopeful eyes. "You're serious?" I asked. "Yes." Every company policy flashed through my head. Power imbalance, HR nightmares, gossip. She was my boss. I should have refused on principle. Instead, I heard myself say, "Why me?" "You do your job. You don't gossip. You don't flirt to climb. You're one of the few people I trust not to turn this into office drama." She paused. "I'll pay you for your time. $5,000 for one afternoon. Just show up, stay by my side, and help me get through it without collapsing." $5,000, more than a month's salary. In my head, I saw a credit card zeroed out, my car repaired, a small savings account actually existing. It was insane money for pretend, but taking cash for this felt wrong, like I'd be selling something I didn't want to sell. "I don't want your money," I said. Her brows drew together. "You don't have to. I'll do it under one condition." "What condition?" "You tell me the real reason you're going." "Closure." Closure is what people say when they don't want to admit the real feeling. For a second, the CEO mask snapped back. She could shut this down, remind me of my place, walk out, and we'd never speak of it again. Instead, she exhaled, and the mask cracked. "I want him to see that I'm okay," she said softly, "that leaving me didn't destroy me, even though it nearly did." She looked away, jaw tight. "I want to walk in with someone who makes it look like I moved on, like I'm happy, like his choice didn't ruin me." Her voice cracked on the last word. "Is that pathetic?" "No," I said, "it's human. We all want to look okay, especially to the people who once saw us broken." She looked at me like she was seeing me for the first time. We stood in silence heavier than the empty building. "So you'll do it?" she asked finally. I thought of the risks. Gossip, HR, every way this could explode. "Yeah," I said, "I'll do it." She exhaled, shoulders dropping slightly. "Thank you. We should exchange numbers. I'll text you the details. The date, the venue, who'll be there. We'll need a story about how we met." I gave her my number. She typed it in with fingers that weren't quite steady. "If you change your mind," she said as she opened the door, "I'll understand." "I won't," I told her. She nodded and left, closing the door softly. I sat alone a long time, staring at my dim laptop screen. The numbers might as well have been hieroglyphs. What had I just agreed to? 3 days later, my phone buzzed in the cereal aisle. Unknown number. "This is Claire Brennan. Can we meet tomorrow to discuss details? Coffee, 10 a.m., Riverside Cafe on 4th. Seeing her first name on my screen shifted something. Less boss, more something I wasn't ready to name. I typed back, "Sure." At the time, I thought I was just doing a bizarre favor. I didn't realize I was also saying yes to the night I'd sit through her ex's vows with her hand locked in mine like I was her only anchor. Riverside Cafe felt slower than the rest of the world. Old brick, mismatched wooden chairs, chalkboard menu, air thick with coffee and cinnamon. I arrived 10 minutes early and chose a back table. My palms were damp. Fake date or not, this still felt like an unrehearsed performance with my CEO. At exactly 10, she walked in. No suit today. Jeans, ankle boots, soft blue sweater, hair down around her shoulders. For a second, I barely recognized her. She looked younger, more human. She saw me and gave a small, tired nod. No boardroom smile, just an honest one. "Thank you for coming," she said as she sat. "I wasn't sure you would." I said I would. "People say a lot of things," she replied. No bitterness, just experience. She set a slim leather folder on the table, like something she'd carry to a budget review. That made the whole thing feel even stranger. "The wedding is 3 weeks from Saturday. Morrison Gardens, botanical venue downtown. Ceremony at 4, reception after. Black tie optional." I nodded, already calculating suit rental costs in my head. She slid a printed page across. "These are the people who'll be there. His family, old friends, business contacts, a few mutual acquaintances who know me too well." I scanned the list, names, brief notes. I recognized none, but I could feel their weight for her. "His name is Trevor Lane. Together 5 years, engaged 18 months. Her voice stayed flat, practiced. "He's marrying Amanda. She comes from money. Her family owns half the downtown buildings. She's kind, smart, which makes it annoyingly difficult to hate her." My mouth twitched. Sounds like a fun crowd. She huffed, almost a laugh. "We need a story, about us. How we met, how long we've been together, what we like about each other." Us? The word landed differently when it meant her and me. "These people will ask questions. They love finding cracks." "Okay, what do you want our story to be?" She studied me. "We met 8 months ago at the company retreat, the leadership one at the resort outside the city. I was actually there."
"I know. You asked a question during my presentation about market share. That's how I remembered your name." I blinked. "You remembered that?" "I remember a lot of things. We built the lie together. Fake first date at a small Italian place we both actually knew. I brought her tulips, her favorite. We discovered shared ideas about work, life, people. The more we talked, the less it felt invented, and the more it felt like a version of us that could exist." "What do I call you at the wedding?" I asked. "I can't say Miss Brennan if I'm supposed to be your boyfriend." She froze for half a second. "Claire," she said. "You call me Claire." "Claire," I repeated. The name felt intimate, wrong, and right all at once. Is that weird? A little, but so is everything about this. For the first time, she almost smiled, eyes included. It vanished quickly, but I caught it. She picked up her coffee, set it down untouched. "Everyone there knows I'm your boss. Trevor knows I run Hartwell. His friends know. They'll see you and do the math." So they'll think I used my position, I said, or that you used yours. Exactly, her jaw tightened. I hate how quickly people assume the worst of a woman in power. So what do? We show them two people who respect each other, she said. Two people who actually enjoy each other's company. That part doesn't have to be fake. She held my gaze. My chest tightened. We barely know each other, I said, mostly to stay grounded. Then we fix that, she replied. We met again 4 days later, dinner at a quiet Italian place, then a bookstore the next week, then another coffee shop, always somewhere the office wouldn't see us. At first, we stuck to surface topics, work, schedules, board nonsense. Then deeper things slipped in, her small-town Ohio childhood, 3 jobs in college, the first time she pitched to a room of skeptical men in suits, my early jobs, my tiny apartment, my vague dream of starting my own firm someday, the girlfriend who left me 3 years ago and married someone else 8 months later, I found out on Instagram and never went near that wedding. I'm sorry, she said when I told her. It's fine, I lied. Why didn't you go? Because I didn't want to see her happy without me. I didn't want proof she'd moved on. Did avoiding it help? No, I think it made the wound stay open longer. She was quiet. So you're doing this with me because you regret not going to hers? I looked across the table. Candlelight caught in her hair, in the tired lines near her eyes. I'm doing this because running from pain doesn't shrink it. It just lets it chase you longer. You shouldn't have to carry that alone. Her eyes glistened. She blinked quickly. That's the kindest thing anyone said to me in years. Days became weeks. Saying Claire stopped feeling strange. By the 3rd meeting, it felt natural. One night at dinner, she asked, "At the wedding, how affectionate are we talking? Hand-holding? Arm around my waist? Kissing? I don't want to surprise you." We do what feels natural. If we force it, they'll notice. I'm not great at physical affection, she admitted, eyes on her plate. Trevor always said I was cold, too focused on work. Maybe he wanted you to be someone you aren't. She looked up, startled. You say that like you know. I do. My ex wanted me more serious, less careful, said I was boring. I spent months trying to change. It made us both miserable. She watched me like she was memorizing something personal this time. A week before the wedding, my phone lit up at midnight. Claire, can't sleep. I keep thinking about seeing him. Me, you don't have to go. You can still back out. Claire, no, I need to do this. I just need to know you'll be there. Always.
Thank you for everything. I lay in the dark, phone on my chest, wondering when helping my boss had turned into wanting to protect her. The wedding day arrived bright and clear. My suit felt stiff, but looked decent. I drove to her apartment, nerves humming. She opened the door and my thoughts scattered. Deep green dress that made her eyes brighter. Simple cut, perfect fit. Hair swept back on one side, loose on the other. You clean up well, she said, gaze moving over me. Her voice was steady, but her fingers gripped her clutch tighter. So do you. Ready? No, she said honestly, but I'm going anyway. In the car, she watched the city pass for a long stretch before speaking. The last time I saw him, I was begging him to stay. Not my proudest moment. You were hurt. I told him I'd work less, be softer, change whatever he wanted. He looked at me like I was already gone. I reached over and squeezed her hand once. His loss. That's the story we're telling today. She didn't pull away. We're happy, she said. We're happy, I echoed. I wasn't sure if we were yet, but I wanted it to be true. We arrived at Morrison Gardens with 20 minutes to spare. Stone arches, climbing vines, white chairs under a flower-covered arch. Picture perfect. Claire stared out the windshield. Once we walk in, people will talk. They'll whisper. They'll judge. Then we give them something real. Two people not ashamed to stand together. She closed her eyes briefly, then nodded. Okay. We stepped out. My hand rested lightly on the small of her back as we walked in. I felt her steady her breathing with every step. The woman who ran my company was about to face the man who broke her heart, and I was the one holding her hand. Inside felt warmer. Soft music drifted from hidden speakers. White chairs faced the floral arch. People turned as we entered. Curious glances, some polite, some not. Claire's spine straightened under my touch, chin lifting slightly. "Showtime," she murmured. A woman in deep purple approached, blonde twist, sharp eyes darting between us. "Claire, you actually came." "Jessica, good to see you. And you brought—" Jessica looked me over. Claire slid her hand into mine. Her fingers tightened like she was holding on for life. "This is my boyfriend. We've been together about 8 months." Jessica's brows shot up. 8 months? You've been quiet." "We kept it low-key. Work complications. You know how it is." "He works for you?" Jessica asked, judgment barely veiled. I smiled evenly. "We met at a company retreat, outside work mode. The connection came later." Jessica made a small scoffing sound. "Well, you look good, Claire. Very composed." "I'm doing well. Thank you." Jessica drifted off, leaving curiosity and perfume in her wake. We found seats in the middle, not too close, not too far. Claire kept my hand. Her grip was fierce now. "Are you okay?" I whispered. "Ask me in an hour." The music shifted. The officiant took his place. Bridesmaids, groomsmen, then Trevor. He looked exactly like the finance bro photos. Perfect tux, confident smile. Claire went rigid. "Are you good?" I whispered. "I'm fine," she said, eyes locked on him. The music swelled. Everyone stood. Amanda appeared. Simple dress, dark hair pinned back, radiant smile. Real happiness.
Claire's hand clamped harder. I leaned close. "Remember, you're not here alone." She didn't reply, but her shoulders eased a fraction. The ceremony unfolded slowly. Readings, light jokes. I barely heard it. I was watching Claire's face, tracking every micro-shift. Then vows. Trevor spoke first. First conversation, partnership, choosing every day, becoming better. Standard lines delivered with genuine feeling. Claire flinched at one mention of past relationships that weren't right. My thumb brushed her knuckles. She held her breath through his words. Amanda's vows, his kindness, his drive, supporting her causes. She mentioned he'd once thought his life was set with someone else, and how grateful she was that things changed. Claire's jaw clenched, breathing shallow. "You can look away," I whispered. "I don't want to," she said, barely audible. "I need to see it all." Rings, kiss, applause. A whistle from the back. Claire sat slowly when everyone else did, like moving through water. "How bad?" I asked under the noise. "Less than I feared, more than I wanted." We moved to the reception greenhouse. Round tables, string lights, flowers everywhere, band tuning up. We found our table. Several faces matched Claire's list. Casual questions came: how we met, how long, weekend plans. We gave the rehearsed answers: Italian restaurant, tulips, park walks, late-night talks about books and business. It should have felt false. It didn't. We'd actually done most of it. One guy, slim, glasses, flashy watch, leaned in. "So you work for her?" "Yes." "And dating your CEO isn't strange?" I shrugged. We met as people before titles got involved. We didn't let the titles stop us after. Claire glanced at me. Something in her face softened. Dinner passed. Speeches, college stories, teary parents, laughter, clinking glasses. The band started slow songs. Dance floor opened. "Dance with me," I said. Claire eyed the crowd. "I don't really... It's part of the show. Also, I just want to." I stood, offered my hand. After a beat, she took it.
On the floor, she felt smaller than in boardrooms, lighter, more human. We swayed under soft lights. "How are you really doing?" I asked. Quiet for a moment. "Honestly, better than I expected. Watching him marry someone else hurts less than I thought." "Why?" She tipped her head to look up at me. "Because I'm realizing I never loved him the way I pretended I did. I loved the plan, the image, the safety, not the person." That's huge to admit. Feels like pulling a splinter. Everything around it stops hurting so much more. She rested her forehead against my shoulder briefly. It felt so natural I forgot the crowd. "Thank you," she whispered, "for being here, for not making me feel ridiculous for needing this." "You're not ridiculous. You're brave." We stayed for 2 more songs. When we returned to the table, Trevor and Amanda were circling the room. My stomach knotted. Claire's shoulders rose like armor. When they reached us, Trevor's host smile flickered seeing Claire. "Claire, I'm glad you came." "Congratulations," she replied evenly. "You both look happy." "We are," Amanda said, genuine. She turned to me. "And who's this?" "This is my boyfriend," Claire said smoothly. 8 months now." "About that," I added, meeting Trevor's eyes. "Nice to meet you. Beautiful ceremony." "Thank you." His gaze flicked between us, reading the closeness, our joined hands. Something unnamed crossed his face and vanished. Amanda smiled. "I'm really glad you're doing well, Claire. Trevor always said you're one of the smartest people he knows." "That was kind of him," Claire said. "I'm glad things worked out for you both." They moved on. Claire exhaled long and slow. That was surreal. "You handled it," I said. "For the first time since the breakup, I don't feel like I lost something." "What do you feel like?"
She looked at me. Really looked. The room noise faded. "Like I dodged a life that wasn't right for me," she said, "and somehow walked into something better without noticing." My heart tripped. She hesitated. "Would you think I'm crazy if I said I'm actually enjoying tonight?" "At your ex's wedding?" "With you," she corrected. "And yes, also at my ex's wedding." "I don't think you're crazy. I think you're allowed to enjoy being with someone who actually shows up." She watched me, indecision in her eyes. "After tonight, after the fake part ends, would you want to see me again?" My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "For real, no story, no pretending, just us." Everything kept moving, waiters, music, laughter, but all I saw was her. "I would have asked you the same thing," I said. Her eyes widened. "You would have?" "I've liked every minute we've spent together. The planning, the fake backstory, the real conversations. I don't want it to end in a parking lot after your ex's wedding." She breathed out like she'd been holding it for weeks. "So we're on the same page," I said. "I want to see you again, for real." Her smile reached her eyes. Not CEO, not careful social, just real. "Then after tonight," she said, "we start over. No script, just you and me. Deal." The rest of the night felt lighter. Tension left her shoulders. We still played couple for the crowd, but the line between act and truth had blurred. When the reception wound down, we stepped into cool night air. String lights glowed. Music and laughter faded behind us. "Thank you for staying through the vows," she said as we walked to the car. "I kept thinking you might slip out early." "I told you I'd be here. I meant it." She stopped under a garden light and faced me. "I thought hearing those vows would crush me. Watching him promise forever to someone else would prove I'd lost." "And did it?" She shook her head. "No. Listening to him, I realized those words were never meant for me. I was trying to fit a life that didn't match who I am." A breeze carried flowers and candle smoke. "You know what I kept thinking during their soulmate talk?" she asked. "What?" "About a Friday night in the break room, when an employee asked me something insane and he said yes without wanting anything. That guy sounds reckless." She laughed softly. "That guy changed my life." On the drive back, she leaned against the window, eyes open. "What happens now?" I asked.
We go home, sleep. Tomorrow we rest. Monday we talk to HR. We do this right. You want to tell them? If we're going to date for real, we have to. I'm not risking your career or mine for a secret. It made sense, but my stomach still twisted. Gossip traveled faster than company memos. You can still change your mind, I said quietly. She turned to me. Do you want me to? No, just giving you an out. I don't want out. I want in, all the way, even if it's messy. At her building, she unbuckled slowly, then paused. Can I ask one more thing? Anything. Do you regret saying yes to the wedding, to all of this? I thought of the break room, the cafe list, her hand crushing mine during vows, her face softening on the dance floor. Not for a second. She smiled, leaned across the console, and kissed me. Soft, sure, more promise than performance. Good night, she said when we parted.
Good night, Claire. Monday, we sat in HR's small office and explained we were in a relationship and wanted it documented. Claire was calm, direct. My heart hammered. The director listened, asked standard questions, when it started, any pressure, any complaints. A few weeks ago, Claire said, I asked him to accompany me to a personal event. It grew from there. He's free to walk away any time. He knows that. The director nodded. As long as you understand the risks and no one reports favoritism or coercion, you're not violating policy, but keep us informed if anything changes. We signed forms and left with identical stapled packets. In the hallway, Claire said, So I guess this is real now? It was already real, she answered. Now it's just official. We stayed careful at work. No inside jokes in meetings, no touching, no joint exits. We met across town for dinner, took late walks, learned each other's coffee orders and bad day triggers. Two things shifted everything again. First, Claire was promoted, regional director over multiple branches. Same building, but no longer my direct chain of command. Cleaner. Second, at the annual gala, after her leadership talk on smart risks, she found me near the windows in the lower lights. You're amazing, I said. You always say that. I always mean it. She paused. There's something I want to say where people can see us together. My chest tightened, the same feeling I'd had before Trevor's vows. Okay. I love you, she said. Not into a microphone, not in a speech, just here. I love you as the man who said yes when I asked for help, not as an employee, not as someone under me, just you. I pulled her close and kissed her, not caring who watched. When we parted, I said, I love you too. I think I started that night in the break room, when you walked in and told the truth instead of hiding behind your title. A few people nearby watched. Some smiled. No one seemed shocked. That's when I realized their opinions mattered far less than the woman in front of me. A year later, we returned to Morrison Gardens. This time, Claire wore white. Same stone paths, same grass, same arch, different flowers. Our families and friends filled the chairs. Office colleagues sat in one row, whispering and smiling. My best man leaned over. Hard to believe this started in the break room. Harder to believe it started at someone else's wedding. Music played. Claire appeared with her sister. My chest tightened in the best way. The woman walking toward me wasn't my boss. She was my partner, my home. I went first. Claire, a long time ago you asked me the strangest question anyone's ever asked in an office. You asked if I'd be your date to your ex's wedding. I said yes because I thought you needed a shield. I didn't know I was saying yes to my future. She laughed softly, eyes shining. You wanted to prove you were okay, I continued, but you were more than okay. You were strong, kind, stubborn, brave. I promise to stand beside you when it hurts, to tell you the truth even when it's hard, to choose you, easy days and hard ones. I love you. I'm so glad I said yes. She wiped her eyes, shaking her head like I was impossible. Then she spoke. I thought I had my life planned with someone else. When it ended, I felt broken, ashamed. I walked into a break room and asked a man who worked for me to pretend I'd moved on.
I expected a transaction. Instead, I found the person who really saw me. Her voice trembled, then steadied. You didn't take my money. You asked for my honesty. You stood beside me while I heard vows once meant for me, and you stayed until the end. You made me feel strong when I felt small. I promise to respect you, to push you when you doubt yourself, to listen when you're tired, to love the real you, not some perfect version. You're my partner, my safest place. I love you. We exchanged rings. The officiant spoke the words. I kissed my wife. Later, in the same greenhouse where I once watched another couple dance, someone asked how we met. We told the truth. My CEO asked me to be her date to her ex's wedding. I went, I stayed for the vows, I drove her home, we decided to try something real. Sounds like a movie, one guest said. Sounds like a risk, another added. Claire squeezed my hand under the table and leaned close. It was a risk, she whispered. The best one I ever took. Years from now, when people ask how we started, I always go back to that Friday night. The hum of the vending machine, the cold coffee, the CEO in the doorway saying, "This is going to sound inappropriate." I thought I was just helping my boss survive one painful afternoon. I didn't know I was walking into the rest of my life.